So going into the topics, yeah. So this is just the contents. Yeah, I'll go through what it is in the subsequent slides. Yeah. So setting the context. So before going into the terminology geospatial, let's think something what we are doing in day out. Say for example, like early days, like the early human, the people, so they go for hunting. So how do they know that, okay, this is the direction they have to go? So this is where like they can find deers. This is the place like they can find some rabbits, or this is the place like these are the places where the animals come for drinking water, and they stay apart. Say they stay few tens of kilometers apart with their family, but then like they know which places, what animals are available, which places they shouldn't be going, which places they have to avoid. So how do they know that, okay, this is the direction I have to travel? Well, there are a couple of things. So one is by practice, or other one is like they have got the memory that, okay, knowingly or unknowingly, like they will try to develop the path in which their ancestors have been traveling. And also like they will have something called landmarks, like say this is a tree, from here like I have to take a left or right. So that's how they used to remember, right? So this is all about direction. So you know, okay, there is a sense of direction, or your brain is capable enough of finding, okay, which direction you have to travel. Yeah. And then take the case of, okay, so we are humans who have got, say, five senses, but then like even the very primitive species like birds, they do transcontinental migrations. They're very specialized than us. Like they can even pass above Himalayas and they can go to the other side, or they can travel from pole to pole. So how do they know? At least we have got the landmarks in land, like this is the tree, this is the rock, from where you have to take a left or right. But then like how do these birds on top of sea, they will understand? So there are a few theories, and one of the very relevant theories is like the birds have got some magnetic contents in their brain, and these magnetic contents are kind of aligned, or they're sensitive to the Earth's magnetic field. Hence, like it acts as a compass, or it can even act as a GPS. So that is how the birds have got. And the same example goes for elephants. Like you might remember, like elephants, they travel from one part of the continent to other part of the continent, as uh, and it's all hundreds of kilometers, and the path has been kind of cascaded from generation to generation. So it's all by experience. So that's what. So what this means is like, before even like we realize that, okay, there is something called geospatial technology, we have been using this in part and parcel of our life. This has become a art of living. So this is the way like we have started thinking like directions are integral part of our living. Yeah. So this is the context. So yeah, so coming to GIS. So GIS stands for Geographic Information System. And of course, like there are so many definitions of GIS, but then like this is a popular GIS definition, which is nothing but this is one of the definitions, a one-liner given by ESRI, which is one of the market leaders in geospatial industry. Yeah, so it's simply it's the science of where are you, what are you doing. So that is if you're able to relate that, okay, anything what you're doing with the position in which you are standing, or the position, or the track in which you are going to travel, that can be called as GIS. And surprisingly, uh, like the first evidences for GIS is not from a civil engineer, or not even from a geographer. You can find this interesting article. So this was published in Institute of Civil Engineers, and this is from one of my close acquaintances has published this. And this is about like, why is it all about location for civil engineers? And this comes to a very interesting story, and especially relevant to this juncture of pandemic. Back then in 1984, there was a similar kind of pandemic, and it was like people say it as epidemic, and it was a cholera epidemic which outbreak in UK. And in UK, like, people were affecting with cholera, and no one knew, okay, what's the source of cholera. But then there was one doctor, a epidemiologist, who wants to find the root cause of why this cholera is spreading. What is the cause for this cholera? So what he did, like, he met various patients, and he collected the address of the patients. Okay, and then, like, he started plotting these addresses in the map, and he found that, okay, the concentration of these patients are in and around a particular area. And as you all know, like, cholera is a waterborne disease. Like, what he did was, like, he took another layer or another inquiry of the locations of water supply tanks. So he has got two informations. One is the location of the affected patients, and other is the location of the overhead tanks. So then what he did, like, he did a proximity analysis, and he found that, okay, these populations are concentrated around a particular water tank. And to his surprise, like, when he went and inspected, he found that, okay, there was the foul water or the drainage water, which was kind of getting mixed with the clean water because of the pipe leakage. And hence he found that, okay, that's a root cause for this cholera outbreak. Yeah. So this is a story. This is not a story. This is a history, and people generally refer this as, okay, geography information system. Before that, it was being realized, or it got a name of GIS. It has been used by a epidemiologist, a doctor, for his analysis. Yeah. So this is a bits of GIS. Yeah. So coming to components of GIS, as you all know, like, these are all standard components of any of the technology, and it's all hardware, software, data, methods, people, and network. Let me not go into each and every definition of what this, because, like, you're smart enough to understand, okay, what's the hardware. Hardware is nothing but a computer, and the collection systems, and software is some, say, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. So those are softwares. And of course, data. So data is something like, as I told you, the doctor had collected address information. So that is nothing but a data. Yeah. And then methods. So he has to look into the map, and he has to look into the nearness of these address areas, address points to the nearest overhead tank or the water supply source. So that's nothing but a proximity analysis. So that's a method of analysis. And then people. Yeah. So the doctor, he has done his MBBS, and he might think that, okay, why should I do this? But then a person, it's more of the way you think. That is what we call it as people. So that's a mindset you have to develop. It's not about the technology alone. It's a mindset, the way of thought, the way of thinking has to be spatial. So that is what the people, and also network. Yeah. So network can come into JS in various senses. Like, one such example is, say, Google Maps. I know how to go from my home to office. I commute day in, day out. But then, like, I have gotten a habit of checking the traffic density or congestion in Google Maps, though I know the route, so that, like, I can choose the less congested route. This is nothing but a route analysis, a shortest route analysis, or a least cost path. In this case, the cost will be the traffic or the time of travel. So you might take a longer route, but then you might be able to travel in a fast. You'll be able to maintain a greater average speed because of the less traffic. So that's called as network analysis. And of course, like, these are a couple of the softwares which you might encounter in GIS, but not limited to. There are a number of softwares. And to be exact, like, nowadays, these are kind of dimming day by day with advent of technology. Like, hardware, like not like earlier times, like, you need to have a hi-fi or a high-end workstation. No, that's no more a requirement now. It's all in cloud, like Google Earth Engine. So this is a cloud-based data analytics platform where you will be able to do all the GIS analysis. And yeah, software. Yeah. So in this case, like this Google Earth Engine, so it acts as a software as well as a hardware, and also data. Like it has got links to various terabytes of satellite images and other GIS data sets. So with technology, yeah, the lines are diminishing, and in a way it's good, in a way it's bad. And I see it's more good because like more and more people can come and contribute to GIS industry. Okay, so then let's come to the other aspect or other aspect of geospatial technology, which is nothing but remote sensing. So in this previous slide, like you would have seen the data. So how to collect data? So that is, remote sensing is one of the ways of collecting data. And like I would like to share a kind of a interesting story which happened to me when I was exactly of your age, like finishing my bachelor's and trying to look for studying for masters or to go for a job. So I was trying to look into various courses which are available for masters in civil. Uh, then I have always wondered that, okay, for fluid mechanics, for hydrology related topics, like there's a master's called Masters in Water Resource Engineering. And for soil mechanics or foundation engineering, like you have got something called geotechnical engineering. For all other things like concrete structures, so structure analysis, concrete. So for those kind of thing, concrete technology. So for that, like you have got structural engineering, and for managing the construction, so you have got construction management. But then like there are a couple of subjects which I am missing, which is about surveying, and which is not an optional subject. It's a mandatory subject for civil. And have you ever wondered like what's the masters for surveying? And if I didn't know the answer when I was there in my final years of civil engineering bachelor's, but then I realized that okay, it was remote sensing. Okay, and I was surprised to see that the qualification or the prerequisite to enter into remote sensing is one of the largest. Like it was one of the largest category. Like various people can come. Like bachelors in computer science can come and join remote sensing. Bachelors in EC can come and join. Electrical can come and join. IT, and also all the science streams like physics, marine biology, geology, aquaculture, and then agriculture engineering or BSc agriculture. So the eligibility qualification for this particular subject, though it comes under Department of Civil Engineering in the university where I studied, but then the option what you had was enormous, and I was really excited. Like, what's so special about this topic, remote sensing? Yeah, so that is where, and I chose remote sensing because like I liked it, though I got an offer in some other, say in structural engineering or water resources, but then like I liked remote sensing because it's a technology rather than engineering that can be applied across vast domains. Okay, so what's remote sensing? Yeah, let me take you through a small example of this. Of course, like I want to quote an example of Genghis Khan, who was said to have an eagle, and he used to use that eagle for intelligence purpose. So what does he essentially do? It's nothing but like he sends his eagle to in the warfare, like he sends his eagle to do a surveillance to find that okay, what's the size of the enemy army, what equipment they got. Of course, like you might ask me, okay, how does the eagle communicate? That's altogether a different story. But then like he was able to find some intelligence of his enemies. And even now, like you can see in Mongolia, like people are using these eagles for finding the prey so that like they can go and attack. So this is nothing but exchange of technology, exchange of information between two people or two sensors. In this case, like eagle has got eyes, which has got a lens, and based on that, like it is doing some kind of analysis to find okay where the prey is, and it is somehow it is coming and telling, it is giving a sign, might be it gives a call saying that okay, this is where the prey is. So that information is passed to the owner of the eagle, and he goes there. like this is the kind of a communication, and remote sensing is a way to analyze an object without being in direct contact. So that is what is remote sensing. So this was a bit of a old like history of remote sensing, but then like the actual modern era of remote sensing started just uh, after the World War, which was the Cold War era in almost 1960s, where like US was very much curious about what's happening at the other side of the world, what is happening in Russia, what's happening in say UK. Are they developing something? They're getting ready for World War III, and that's what like they want to spy this. So spying, they can do it like they have seen movies like James Bond movies, like where the spies go and they do they collect the informations. But then like they were doing aerial surveillance to understand, okay, how many airstrips are there, how many, what kind of weapons to USSR had. So that is where they had a program called Corona, like exactly the name. What is so much making a buzz out of now? But then like for remote sensing people or from people from geospatial domain, this is not a new word. Corona has been there since 1960s, at least for us. Yeah, so they had a series of satellite programs which lasted almost a decade, and then they had around 10 or 15 satellites. What they do is like uh, they sent these rockets filled with satellites, and these satellites are nothing but a camera and rolls of film. Like in olden days, like you didn't have this digital cameras, right? So it was a film camera, and this film camera, like because like you have to take millions of photos and you can go and refill these, load these films then and there. And that's where like they had to send containers, like four containers of film rolls along with a camera. So like once this full container of film is over by taking photos all the throughout the day, so it will be dropped by the satellite so that like it reaches the ocean, and from ocean like it has been collected through the vessels, and then they do the processing to find, okay, what is happening in and around the world. So this was a military operation, and it was a very secret operation. And just a couple of years before this was made, this data no more, it's no more significant for them, like 100 years old data. So it's no more significant for US military. So they have declassified it, and now it's available for public use. So the image what you see here is Pentagon, and to my surprise, the spatial resolution of this image was around 1 or 2 foot, which is nothing but a sub-meter resolution. Even now, like I doubt we'll be able to get a sub-meter resolution satellite images for free. And that's how, like you can imagine like what was the accuracy or how much they would have invested back then in 1960s to gather the information. And can you imagine right now what US might be doing with the kind of the technology what they have got with? They would have maybe say 1,000 times better technology, and they are not revealing. Yeah. So related to this is the other story. Yeah. So I'll finish this. Yeah. I don't know whether you're able to figure out this movie. This movie is called Parmanu, and if you haven't watched this movie, I'm not saying from a geospatial perspective, but I'm saying you as a friend or a well-wisher that okay, you can like whenever you find time, please do watch this movie if you haven't watched. So there is nothing about a story of Pokhran, and we're not sure like whether this happened in real, but then US did give a statement that okay, US didn't have a clue on Pokhran, and this is just a one line, and the story has been developed in and around this, which says that okay, like how they fooled the satellite, the US American spy satellite, when they are kind of conducting this Pokhran test. So this is a very good example of okay, though we are very much advanced with the technology, still human is much more intelligent. If he wants to be, like he can be much more intelligent compared to any of these emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, or even remote sensing for that matter. And this is another image which is close to my heart, and I have been always making fun of it. Like, this is a drone, as you would have seen in many of the, like right now its usage is limited more or less like in marriages, like people for very much fond of this, like they get this drones and they capture the marriage event in an aerial view. But then like drones are used in remote sensing technology in the field of geospatial monitoring. Yeah. So but then, like as I told you, like the eagle and drone, the first mode of remote sensing and the latest technology what we are using for remote sensing, both are fighting, and eagle always screws this drones and it drops it down from high altitude and crashes. And this is still happening, and it often gets the news, especially in US, where like they use drones a lot. Yeah. So